Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope your day is going fantastic. I'm so glad you're joining me today. Today we are going to create a card. We're using a few items from the Simon Says Stamp Shop that's part of the brand new Be Creative release. It just went live today, and if you haven't had a chance to check it out, I'll leave a link to the entire release down below. That way you can head on over and see what's new over at the Simon Says Stamp Shop. Today I thought we would create a engagement card. I haven't made one of those in a while, and engagement season or wedding season is around the corner, and so I thought we would use some new products with that card. I'm going to start with the die set. This is a wafer thin die, and it is the You Did words. This is a two-piece die set. You get the shadow, and then you get the you and the did, but they're one piece, which is really nice. Actually, it's two pieces. You get the you did is one, and then, well, let me show you. I already separated my dies here. This is the shadow, and then you get the you did. The you did is one whole piece, and then the dot on the eye is one piece. So two pieces. I love when dies like this are all together when you die cut, because I don't have to fuss with placement. It does it for you. So we're going to be using this on our card along with a brand new 6x8 stamp set. This is the You Did 6x8 stamp set, and I thought it was perfect for wedding themed cards. You could probably get away with maybe New Year's too, because you have the champagne glasses and you have clink. A lot of sentiments that could go on the inside of a card, but for the most part it's for wedding theme. But we're going to be using this on our card for today. Today I thought we'd make a shaker card, so we're going to use some brand new clear acetate sheets over at the Simon Shop. This is a package that has 10 half sheets, so they're 5.5 by 8.5 inches. They are lightweight. I took one out already to show you. Each acetate sheet has tissue behind it, and I tell you, I like to keep the tissue. Recently I had created a gift bag card. You could actually use this tissue for those gift bag cards. So, or if you make a donut box, you can use this on the inside of a donut box card. Nice little size of tissue. It is a lightweight acetate, so it makes it probably easy to die cut and also easy to cut with your scissors. We're going to be using that on our card. And lastly, these two items are not part of the new release. These are already in the shop, but I wanted to share with you these. Lastly, there is a brand new storage envelope over at the Simon Shop. You get 10 in a pack, and I believe there's different sizes. This here is a 7.25 by 9.5 inch tall envelope. This is what it looks like. And they are heavy duty envelopes. You can see the seams are reinforced really well, and they actually fit stamp sets beautifully. And then it has a little closure on here. There's a slit inside this envelope that you just put the flap here on the inside for storage. So this is a nice little storage envelope. If you guys are interested, I'll leave everything that I showed you today downstairs in the description area. I'm not sure of the price point on these, but I think the envelopes are very nice quality. So we're not going to use this on our card, but I thought I would share with you the brand new envelopes that are part of the Be Creative release. Okay, so I mentioned that these two items we're going to use. This is such a pretty gold cardstock. This is called Champagne Matte. In this pack you get 6 sheets, and they're all 8.5 by 11. They're 90 pound weight, so they're nice for die cutting, but it's such a pretty, let me show you, matte gold. Love this. We're going to use this on our card. So I trimmed down a piece already that's a card front panel size, but this was part of actually last month's release, so we're going to be using this on our card too. And I went ahead and picked up some of these this little tool. I did want a teal color. Teal meaning, this color, but they were out. Darn it. But orange is just as nice. I guess I won't lose this on my craft desk. These are from Simon Says Stamp, and they're called Hot Hands. And these are available right now in the the shop. Well, everything that I'm showing you with you today is in the shop, but this was available last month. But aren't these adorable? They're little tongs. I just love these. So when you do your heat embossing, you would pick up your cardstock with your hot hands, and then you would heat emboss. And you, well, I wouldn't go that close, but, and then you would use your heat gun to emboss. How many times have I heat embossed and my fingers get a little toasty? So I thought this was such a cute little tool. We'll be using this with our card today. Just thought I'd share that with you. I don't know if you've seen these before, but they're awful cute. And they come in more colors than orange and the teal. So you can check that out. Okay, let's jump in and get started. I'm super excited about this. First, we're going to start by doing, we're going to do die cutting and stamping and coloring. So I'm going to take my You Did stamp set. And I really like the little cake in here. And there is, on stamps that have little shadow detail, what I mean by shadow detail is you see the dark area. They're actually, let me see if I can zoom in to show you. They're lined. You can see the lines on there. The stamp does the shadowing for you. And since I'm heat embossing, I'm afraid I'll probably lose a little bit of that. But I still want to heat emboss with gold embossing powder. So let's go ahead and take our cake. That's what we're going to stamp with. And then I'm also going to take my sentiment. And for this card, I'm going to use So Happy For You. I'm going to stamp my cake on some white cardstock. And then I'm going to stamp my sentiment on some pale blue or some teal colored cardstock. Let me zoom in a little bit more. I'm going to treat my paper with my anti-static powder tool. Both of them actually. And then we'll go ahead and ink up our cake. I'm going to stamp this on my white cardstock, and then I'm going to go over this with gold embossing powder. Yeah, I think once it melts, I think I'm going to lose some of those lines, but we're going to color it in, so I think we can get away with that. And then with our sentiment, So Happy For You, I'm going to stamp that with my Versamark ink. And then with this, I'm going to go over this with white, oopsie, with white embossing powder. Wonderful. I'm going to go ahead and grab my hot hands. I think that's so cute. Okay, and then I'm going to hold them at the end, turn on my heat gun, and I'm going to go ahead and melt both of these. Okay, you do have to pinch them a little bit tight, but my hands did not get heated at all. So there's my cake. Now let's go ahead and do our sentiment. Okay. I'm eventually going to trim this down and forgive the inky fingers. I'm going to go ahead and do some quick coloring. I'm not even going to speed up the video. I'm going to use two different colors of teal. I have a BG72 and a BG75. These are Copic markers. And I'm just going to go real fast coloring over the heart and then the entire cake. I had made a wedding cake once and they wanted chocolate icing. And I was so excited about the chocolate icing because chocolate icing was so easy to work with. Because it just glides on the cake. So it took me no time to frost the cake. Now, to deliver it was a different story. It was, I would say, almost 100-degree weather. And I only had my car. And my car was fairly new. I had a Toyota Camry. And it was it was new off the lot, and I didn't know how to pull the seats down from the trunk because that's where we had to put the cake to deliver it. And it was in a box and it was covered, and on our way to the destination, we live in a small town, so we had to go 20 miles, maybe 25 miles away. I'm going to go ahead and fussy to cut this out while I chit chat. But it was about 25-minute drive, I would say. And the husband was driving. Thank goodness. I was a nervous wreck. And then I made him pull over maybe every 10 miles so I could check on the cake. I was so afraid of it getting overheated in the trunk. And the first 20 miles was fabulous. The cake was fine. It wasn't shifting or anything, and it was a 4-tier cake. This is a 3-tier. I had to do a 4-tier. Well, by the time we went to the destination, the church that we needed to deliver it to, I opened the trunk, and all the chocolate had melted all on the sides. So the cake was exposed on the first 3 layers, and then I had a puddle of chocolate all along the bottom. Oh, I cried and I cried. It was horrible, horrible, horrible. I had did the best fix-it job that I could, but of course the crumbs went with it. The crumbs of the cake went with it, and the bride was so sweet. I gave her all her money back. That was my last wedding cake. I said never again. That broke my heart. I thought I ruined these guys' new day. But anyway, that's my story. I gotta get back to my card. I'm gonna go ahead and trim this down, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm sorry for my rambling, but I will, every time I see a wedding cake, I think of that. Now I'll probably make my kids' wedding cake, but I'm gonna use a little bit of glue, but I'm gonna mat my So Happy For You, and then just using my scissors, I'm gonna trim away this side. So our cake and our sentiment is good to go. I'm going to put these off to the side. Now we're going to do a little bit of die cutting. Now we're going to take our sentiment here. I'm not going to use the outline today. I'm just going to use the sentiment die. And since it is a little bit on the thinner side, you of course could use glue, but I'm going to be putting this on acetate, and I don't want the acetate to get all gluey. So I'm going to use some double-sided adhesive. I have a piece here that's the same size as my card front panel. It's double-sided adhesive, so if I remove the release paper off of one side, I can tack it down. What this is going to do is my cardstock is going to basically become a sticker. If I have a little bit of overhanging, I'm going to trim that off because otherwise it may stick to my die cutting plate, and I don't want that to happen. Now what I'm going to do is, let me grab my bigger scissors. Sometimes when you foil, my plates are not the cleanest. Let me show you. This is my cutting plate. You can see there's some indentions. The indentions, I don't know if the camera can pick it up. This is my top plate, and this is my bottom. Usually I'll put this on here like this, and I'll run this through my die cut machine. But the indentions on here will go on my foil. So I'm going to die cut out. I'll trim this down and then trim this down. And I'll do these one at a time until I have maybe 7 or 8 of the U-dids. I'm going to create a background with it. And I'm going to do one at a time. I'll just run this through my die cut machine, and then I will be right back. I went ahead and die cut out I did 8 of my U-dids. I may not use them all, but better to have more than less. That way I don't have to stop and go on the video. But I also have a piece of the same colored cardstock that we use for a sentiment. This measures 4 inches by 5 1/4. Now what we're going to do is, first we're going to take this panel, and using my craft mat, I want to do a little bit of ink blending on this panel. I'm going to bring in some peacock feathers. And I'm also going to use my Simon blending tool. These are so nice because it has a little lid. What I'm going to do is just do the bottom half and fade it up. So this is going to be the lightest blue, and then this will have a little bit of a color to it. And all I'm really worried about is those side areas. Love that. Since my cake is a little bit on the smokier color side, it's like it has that little extra gray to it. I have another one of these blending tools. I use these for my my night sky background. So this has black soot on it. I'm not going to add any more color to it, but I am going to go over the edges here with my black soot blending tool. This is going to add a little bit more smokiness that'll coordinate more with my cake. And I think that's perfect. I'm going to go ahead and put this off to the side. Okay. Now that my panel has a little bit of ink blending on it, I'm going to bring in another panel that's the same size. And also I'm going to bring in my nesting rectangle die set. This is from Hero Arts. These are infinity dies. And what I'm going to do is take one of the dies and die cut out a window in my white cardstock. This is going to probably be about 1/4 of an inch, maybe a little bit bigger. And then I'm going to take one die larger, and I'm going to cut a frame out of this. So you see the different size frames. This is a thicker frame than this. This is going to be matted on the inside of this. So I want it to be one size smaller. You can see here. So it's just going to leave me a little bit of a mat. So I'm going to run these through my die cut machine. So I ran this through. My son's coming in. I may have to close the blinds in a little bit. But I ran this through. Now I'm going to keep both of these pieces, but I don't need the middle of this frame. And what we're going to do is flip this over. I'm going to use my glue. On the back side here. And we'll go ahead and add that white behind it. Now this one I'm going to flip around. So I have my Distress Oxide ink on the top, and then I have it faded on the bottom here. Eventually it's going to go like this. What we're going to do next is trim down a piece of acetate so it's this size or a little bit smaller. Okay. I had to take them all out and remove, since they have the sticker backing, I had to remove all of the inside pieces. But I'm going to, my cake is going to basically be in the middle, so I know I don't want a sentiment there. I don't want to start it off in the middle. And what I'm going to do is, I took the same size acetate, so it's 4 inches by 5 1/4, and I stuck it down. And then we're going to do the same thing. And basically, we just need to remove the release paper here. And I'm going to fill in my background. Now you can always save the pieces that are overhanging because you can use them in the open areas. Glue my frame to my acetate, and I'll be right back. Okay, I went ahead and attached my frame, and then I went ahead and also put foam adhesive behind my acetate. Now we're going to go ahead and take this panel, and we're going to place this panel directly on our card base. And I'm going to use my tape runner for this. And when we adhere it, we want to make sure that the area that we had Distress Oxide ink is on the top, and then it fades towards the bottom. And then what we're going to do is fill up our shaker with not too much, but I'm going to be using a sequin mix. This is actually from Studio Katia, and it's called Wedding Bell wedding bells mix. It's really pretty. You have, let me see if I can show you. There's gems in here. There are matte sequins. There are clear gems. There are clear a smorgasbord of sparkle. And I'm going to actually finish it off. Have to get some more. I'm going to spread it around. Some of the gems I'm going to make sure that are facing up. I'm going to remove the release paper off of my foam tape. And then we can turn this around. We can add this in the center of our card base. After we have this adhered, I did put foam tape behind my cake. We're going to add this right in the center. I'll remove the release paper off of my sentiment. I put foam tape behind here also. And this is going to go right underneath. And last but not least, for a little bit of sparkle, I'm going to bring in my Spectrum Noir sparkle pen. Haven't used this in a long time, so I want to make sure it's working. Oh, yes, it's still working. Whoops. Okay. And I'm going to go over the cake that we just colored in. I'm going to add some shimmer to this. And I'm also going to go over my sentiment. Add a little sparkle to that as well. And then that will finish off my card today. We have a little sparkle on the front, lots of sparkle on the inside. Plus we got a little sound movement. It's those gems. I didn't even add any seed beads. It's the gems that are making the noise, which is nice. I'll leave the links for everything down below, and I hope you get a chance to check out the Be Creative release over at the Simon's Stamp Shop. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for joining me. We will see you